off wrong in that video, it would be useless. I've realized now there is no correct way or right way to deal with this situation. And by this situation, I mean the apology, which is not what this video is about. I'm just rambling for a second because that's what people seem to be still focused on. I'm still getting comments and messages on like TikTok of people saying, have you apologized to Kaylee? Kaylee still deserves an apology. Kaylee still wants an apology. And listen to me when I tell you guys this. She does not want an apology anymore. She wants absolutely nothing to do with me, and her actions have showed that, and I know that, and I'm gonna respect that. If I'm being honest though, I feel like there was no right way for me to do that in the beginning. Like, Kaylee begged for a public apology on all social media platforms and exposed me more and more each day because she said it wasn't fair that I spoke out about every ex but not about her. But little did she know I was working on this video for days, and then I finally get it out and she complains that I happened to post it while she was with her friends. Like, I had any knowledge that she was out with her friends. Like, there was just no right way for me to do that. I fucked up. It's one of the things I'm gonna have to live with. That's the past now. Radical acceptance at its finest. But like I said, that's not what this video is about, even though that kind of like started the uproar of it all. It's definitely not what it's about at all anymore. This has turned extremely, extremely real. Not as if it wasn't real before, but regardless of the fact that it's all of our jobs, YouTube, Instagram, social media, Twitter, all of it, it is just the internet. But now this is turning into something much, much bigger than the internet. It's turning into something that is going to affect our lives for years. And with more and more fake stories literally being pulled out of people's fucking assholes, and more YouTubers picking up on these fake stories, and Taylor raising thousands of dollars to sue me, I decided it's time to actually take matters into my own hands. So all of last week I spent my time talking to many different lawyers, getting their opinions. I wanted multiple opinions just to get their advice on the situation, because even though lawsuits are very expensive, initially talking to a lawyer is free most of the time, and it's not hard to do. You just gotta pick up the phone. And they're gonna hear you out, especially if they think you have a case, because if they think you have a case, then they're gonna wanna work with you, especially if you have money. Which leads me to kind of like the point of this video. And I realize now that if I was to just leave YouTube, like everybody wants me to, that would make me look extremely guilty. I'm not gonna leave what I've been doing for over 10 years because people don't believe me because of all shit where I could prove false in court, and plan on doing just that. That's the power of YouTube. You don't have to watch my videos. You choose whether or not to click. Like, when I tell you guys this shit has gone way too far, like, I wouldn't wish this on anybody, like anybody, to feel like the entire world is against you for something that you did not do. Is like, I've never experienced anything like this in my entire life. I had to disable my comments. I couldn't like mentally take it, and it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. Like, when I tell you guys that this is getting so out of hand, I don't think you guys understand. People in my real life now are believing these stories that are, I don't even know where they're being created from. Like the story about the 17-year-old girl, the minor from Ireland, I would love to know who made that up. If you don't know, one of the big stories that has me canceled right now for minor shit, not minor shit, I mean shit with minors, whatever the fuck, is that I supposedly flew out a 17-year-old girl when I was 25 from Ireland, round trip. She stayed with me in Boston, had such a great time, decided to move to Boston, and then I don't know the rest of the story from there. And this is a story that YouTube channels keep picking up and people keep talking about. Where's the fucking girl? Like, apparently she wants to stay anonymous. I'm like, you want to stay anonymous because you made it up. Like, and that's what I mean when I say I don't have it in me to defend myself anymore. Like, I can't get in front of a camera again and be like, check my credit cards, check my bank statements. I never flew out a girl from Ireland. Like, you would see it. Like, I can't even like defend myself anymore. And that's why I want the law to do it at this point. Like, where did that story come from? Not to mention the video where it is talking about all the stuff with the minors. There's people that have stories in that video that have texted people in my real life and told them that the stories are made up in the video. But I'm like, why won't you tell them? Like, why won't you make a public statement? That's what I mean. I'm like, I'm out of energy to try to defend myself. Like, how do you defend yourself on such allegations for so long that are literally made up to the point where like you can't even guess who made it up? Like, where did that even come from? First of all, when I was 25, I was pretty much living in California with Steph, and then right after Steph I started dating Taylor. So it's like, when did that happen? Oh, and apparently she has selfies with me, but she won't post them because she wants to stay anonymous. I'm like, okay. And I'm not going to give up. I don't care if I have to shut my comments off or just not listen to what anybody else has to say. I'm fighting for my innocence now because it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but clearly YouTube has reversed that, on me at least. And essentially that is the point of this video, to say that I wish that I had your guys' support the way I used to, but if I don't, I don't. and I can't let that affect me in this court case. I'm not giving up. I'm not stepping off of YouTube because of people that don't believe me. And like I was saying, I spent all of last week talking to multiple different lawyers, getting advice on the situation, figuring out what way I want to go about it, and trying to figure out which lawyer I want to represent me in the case. And if you're watching this and you're thinking I'm lying, because any lawyer would tell you do not talk about it, you're right. Every single lawyer that I talked to has advised me not to speak about it at all before, during, or after. I explained to every single one that I had the conversation with that it can't happen. Like, I can't let myself look guilty by letting you guys get me off YouTube because you don't want me here anymore. When you have the option to click the button, like you watching this right now, you clicked it. I obviously felt the need to make this video to not silence or scare anybody, but just to let everybody know, including the audience, that this is gonna be a big deal. It's going to be so shitty for everybody involved, but I'm not giving up. I am not going to have these terms put onto my name for my entire life. Rapist, pedophile. You could think I'm a manipulative, narcissistic, abusive bitch, but I'm not a rapist and I'm not a pedophile, and I am not going to stop fighting for that until I prove it. And right now there are obviously no open cases. If anything was ongoing, I wouldn't be making a video about it, but I just wanted to share some information that I feel like not a lot of people knew, that I found really interesting, that the attorneys made me aware of. First of all, this case is a way bigger defamation case than I even thought. I thought it was only going to be for defamation of, you know, false claims of pedophilia and rape, but it's gonna go a lot deeper than that. Also, there's even felonies involved. Did you guys know that Massachusetts is one of only 12 states where you cannot legally record somebody without their consent, no matter the situation? And if you do, it's a felony. I had no idea that. The lawyer let me know. The lawyer also let me know when he was telling me that the clips that were taken that would be charged as a felony are also not legally allowed to be on YouTube, and it would be very easy for me to not only get a video down with these clips in it, but strike it as well, because YouTube has a policy for privacy and consent, which I had no idea about. But when the lawyer was telling me about how filming somebody without their consent is a felony in Massachusetts, he made me aware that it's also not allowed on YouTube, which made me think, there are some big videos out there with those clips in them that I definitely did not give my consent to be filmed in. One of these videos being Sloane's. The lawyer told me it was basically 2 clicks of a button, but I decided not to do that because I know it would come off as me silencing the story, and I don't want that. But I just want to make that very apparent that I did and I do have the opportunity to strike that video and any other video that uses those clips because they were filmed without my consent. You get a strike on your channel and the video gets taken down. Thankfully, I'm not out here trying to hurt people's YouTube channels. I get Sloane's just out here doing his job. The comments on that video, I've never experienced anything like this, and that's why I feel like more than ever I have to go to court. Like, even if it doesn't change the opinions of others, I need this for my future. Like, I can't have this tied to me forever. I need to settle this. So another thing that I talked to the lawyers about, and again, I feel comfortable talking about this because I've literally talked to probably like 5 or 6 lawyers, and it's not like there's a case. This is just questions that I've asked the lawyers, and I felt like I wanted to share on YouTube because I feel like nobody is realizing this. But another conversation I had was about grooming, and he actually brought this up because this was the first lawyer I talked to, and I sent him a long email and he called me, and he started off the conversation by saying, he introduced himself, and he first said, usually I start these conversations by asking you like a series of questions to figure out if you even have a defamation case. And then he said, but I've been doing some Googling and you definitely have a defamation case. And I was like, yep. I definitely knew that. And it turns out that the whole grooming accusation would be added right onto the defamation case. When there were leaked or exploited sexual text messages of me and my ex put out on Twitter in order to convince you guys that I was grooming her. I saw a lot of you guys in the comments saying that I deserved jail time and that it was definitely grooming and that I should be in prison. So I had questions for the lawyer, and he said exactly what I was expecting him to say. 1, you were not a minor, and 2, you were a fully consenting adult in those sexting conversations. Those were basically the same exact thing, but I'm gonna say it twice just in case they didn't get through to everybody the first time. I was 24 years old, sexting an 18-year-old. Looking back now, is that quite an age gap? Yeah. But was it intentional? No. Was there any malicious or manipulative intent behind it? No. And most importantly, was it illegal? no. And stuff like that is exactly like, it's almost like I'm trying to help you guys out. Like, it's like, and it's not even just my exes that are gonna get in trouble. It's so many people that I could potentially, like, like, you guys are, like, you really gotta see, talk to a lawyer. That's the only thing that I can, like, say. I don't even, like, I'm speechless. Like, they were adults. They made their own decisions. 2 + 2 isn't equaling 4. Sorry, I had to. See, things like that, I get it. I can be a fucking asshole sometimes. I have a little bit of anger built up in me. You know, I'm not perfect, but I'm not gonna go down as being the YouTuber who got ran off of YouTube because she got accused of being a pedophile and a rapist. Yeah, no, that's not gonna be me. And like I said, you have a choice to click on my videos and watch them or not. And yes, I am going to be a huge pussy and disable my comments for a while, because when I tell you, like, I'm not gonna even talk about it. Like, I couldn't handle it. I just keep going back to the way of, like, describing it like that. Like, to feel like the whole world is against you for something that you didn't do. I think about, like, the story with, like, the 17-year-old girl that everybody keeps talking about. And it's just like, where's the girl? She doesn't fucking exist. Somebody is making these stories up. Like a 17-year-old girl from Ireland. There's not one bit of proof of that. And like I showed you the text conversation in the beginning of this. This was also a big story that I, like, pressured myself onto somebody sexually. And it was made up. And this is literally the girl saying that, like, she never said that. And the worst part of this is, and this is what's gonna drive me crazy, is that everybody believed me just a month ago. When I showed my proof and when I explained my side of the story, everybody believed me for both of those claims. But then the stuff with Kaylee happened and it really exposed me for being not the best person, and then automatically everybody wants to switch up completely and believe that I'm a rapist and a pedophile. Like, just because I was shitty to my ex-girlfriend does not mean that I raped my other ex-girlfriend. It does not mean that I'm a pedophile. Like, oh my god. Also, the timing of this is, like, I told a lawyer and the lawyer was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm referring to the first lawyer that I talked to, but I talked to multiple. When I told him the timing of this, that, like, the actual sex happened in the summer and she didn't want to say that it was rape until October, and then I shut all the claims down, and then she stayed quiet until I started getting canceled again, and then she comes back up and tries to, like, bring it all up again. Like, the timing of this, a judge is just gonna look at it and be like, why now? Like, that's what they're gonna say. They're gonna be like, why now? And they're gonna see the intent behind it, and they're gonna see that, like, it's just insane. Like, thinking about, my thoughts are, like, running. I don't even know, like, what to say next. Like, I was just about to say one thing, and then I started thinking about the fact that Taylor has a $20,000 goal to raise for this lawsuit. Be careful where your money is going with that. Sus as fuck. She's already made a comment saying that any money that isn't used for legal aid will be donated. It's like, well, I don't know. Sus. But that alone just makes me want to fight for this even harder. Like, I'm not going to ask you guys for money. I'm going to pay every last penny that I have, if I have to prove my innocence, because this is so fucked up. And even though I wouldn't get anything, well, depending on who I sue, but most likely I wouldn't get anything back because the people that would be getting sued don't have much. Even though they don't have much, they would be very fucked. They would have to file for bankruptcy. Their credit would be forever fucked. They'd probably never be able to own a house or a car or anything ever again. Of course, only if I won. So I mean, it's not like I'm doing this for nothing. You guys wanted to teach me a lesson, which you clearly did. Now, time to let the courts decide. And I say that because, like I said in the beginning of this video, I know that there's not much more I can say to defend myself. Like, I need the law or a lawyer or an attorney to just see the case and see it for what it really is, because nobody else seems to be. But I know the truth, and I am going to fight for that. Like I said, I have definitely made mistakes, but there's a difference between holding somebody accountable for their mistakes and harassment. And I really, really don't want to be that bitch to be like, you're harassing me. But all the lawyers that went and looked at everybody's social media, they all said the same thing, that I could literally do an immediate injunction or whatever it's called. Never mind. My point is that it takes about 30 seconds and one brain cell to see that this isn't about holding me accountable anymore. This has turned to harassment. The only reason why my exes are being quiet right now is because they're all together. That's the only reason. Like, I knew that they were all gonna be together today because they were all too quiet. Like, I just knew it. Like, they've all been so loud. Like, I remember there was one day where Taylor had to have at least tweeted, like, I don't even know, every 45 seconds for like 7 hours straight. Like, do you remember when Anna did this? Or do you remember when Anna did this? Or what was it? Like, let's not forget when Anna did this. Let's not forget when Anna did this. And it's just like, dude, can't be good for your mental health. It can't be. And then Kaylee started doing it, and it's just like, when the lawyer told me that it's definitely harassment, I asked them, I was like, well then what's the difference between harassment and like freedom of speech? First Amendment rights, it's kind of a big deal. And apparently your freedom of speech kind of goes away once you start to use it in like a negative way towards people. I don't fucking know the laws, but the attorney said that this is hands down harassment. Probably because I showed them when I think you were kind of like losing your mind a little bit on Twitter and tweeted like 300 times in a day, probably fucking more. So that was easy to prove as harassment, but again, didn't want to press any charges yet because, oh, I also didn't want to give you guys a cease and desist letter, which again, the first lawyer offered, because I figured you guys would laugh at it. I figured you guys would think I was taking, you know, the cheap and scary route, like I'm just gonna scare you guys to be silent. So I said no. I didn't want to do a cease and desist because we're gonna skip that. We're gonna go right to, honestly, according to the lawyer, this lawsuit would be held in Boston federal court, which is fucking insane to think about. Boston federal court. There's felonies and it's criminal because of the extent of the defamation. It's not civil anymore, according to the lawyers. I don't fucking know, but that's what I was told, that it would be held in Boston federal court. And again, like I said, if you know anything about law, you probably think I'm making this whole thing up and that I didn't talk to any attorneys at all because they would advise me not to do this video, which they did, but I'm not gonna make myself look guilty. And that is exactly why I'm making this video. I know it probably comes off as like I'm trying to scare you guys, as in the people that are gonna be sued, but it's really not even that. It's just me saying like, yeah, you're about to be sued. Like, I don't have the patience for you guys to find out through the system. I'm telling you guys now. Like I said, I'm still in contact with multiple different lawyers, trying to figure out who I want to represent me, and also to figure out what charges we're even definitely gonna press and what we're gonna do, because all the lawyers are telling me all these different charges on all these different people, and some people I don't even want to bring into it, and I'm like, whoa, like I wasn't even thinking about suing them. But
words that I can use to describe my 2020 and 2021 experience:
compassion, peace and comfort, depression,
changes and stress.
Unique.
I'm just being told all my options, and I first wanted to get onto YouTube and tell everybody that I am not backing down, and I'm going to continue to fight this until it's over. I don't care how many years it takes. I don't care. I don't care. I am not going down as the YouTuber who got ran off of YouTube for being falsely accused of being a pedophile and a rapist. If you are one of the people that wanted to run me off of YouTube, I'm sorry to say, it's not gonna happen. I decided that I am not gonna stop doing what I love doing and what I've been doing for over 10 years because I'm scared of getting hate comments because people won't believe me. I'm not letting it happen. So if I have to turn my comments off and be a pussy for a little bit to continue to do what I love, then so be it. I don't care. You guys can call me a pussy. I am a pussy. If those comments are Sloane's comments alone, and it's hard because it's like they hurt so bad but you can't stop reading them. It makes me think about what I did to Marina Joyce and Liam Marie Johnson. It makes me think about like what the comments might have made them feel. I'll probably never do a video on someone again. I know that there's other big YouTubers making videos, Repsion and Ready to Glare, which is insane because Repsion is like one of my favorite YouTubers. Like, I watch him every day, and it's just like, it's fine for him to come at me for the stuff that I did wrong. That's fine. But I really just hope these big YouTubers, if they're gonna talk about it, at least give my side too, or at least show everything. Don't just say that I am this pedophile. Like, cover the whole case, please. Like, I'm asking you guys, any big YouTubers who plan on covering this and happen to see this video, cover the whole thing. Do your research. This is not as small as it's seeming. And yeah, I feel like that is all there is to talk about. And like I said, it is completely your choice on whether or not you want to continue watching me or not. Nobody is forcing you to click any buttons that you don't want to click. So with that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you soon with another new video. Peace.